guys, it's Jennibellie. Today I'm going to show you how to make these plastic wallets which you can keep pretty much anything in. It was a requested tutorial after I showed you my all-in-one travel and journal kit where I showed you these, and I'll show you how it works. Pretty straightforward. I'll show you how to do this closure, and you can just keep whatever you like in them, and they're really handy. So I was asked to do a tutorial pretty much on this whole travel kit, but to be honest the only thing I actually handmade in them is the wallets and also the travel palette, water soluble travel palettes, which I've already done a tutorial on. I also made this, which is like a washi tape folder, which you can see I've pretty much used all of the washi tape out of it on my last trip, but it's just basically a variation of the wallet that I'm going to show you now. The rest of it is pretty much just going around your studio and finding things that you want to take away and finding bits and pieces that you can adapt into making your own travel kit. So, what the main ingredient is, what you'll need is a plastic wallet. I luckily just have this one sheet left, so I hope it doesn't go wrong. This is all I have. And let's get cracking. Okay, so what you need to do first is measure the width of whatever it is you want the wallet for. So mine across here is 7 by 4.5. What I also want you to do is keep a flap, so that obviously you can do it without, but then you're always going to run the risk of things coming out. So the flap I generally keep about 1 inch for, roughly. You'll find that the plastic wallets aren't that easy to cut in some cases, so let's really hope that this doesn't go wrong. Okay, so across here we'll choose a 7th width because it makes sense to cut it that way, the shortest way. Now, because we want it 4.5 this way, times 2 equals 9, and then plus another 1 inch for the flap equals 10. So now grab a bone folder and just mark off so that's about 4.5 inches there. Make sure it's nice and creased, and then take your flap over. Like so. And this is pretty much where I would leave it if you wanted just to have a wallet. Just have a folder, sorry, where it will come out for the washi tape. That's pretty much where I left it at that point. So what you need for the closure, to seal it off, is a tacky glue I use, and also a plastic tape. Not a washi tape, but a plastic tape, because a washi tape can easily be torn with wear. I'm not saying that these are necessarily going to last forever. Obviously if you've got some scissors to them it would just slit across there, but then, you know, the same could be said for the actual plastic sleeve itself. What you might also find is that tape might not necessarily like the plastic. So if it doesn't like the tacky, you know, if the tacky glue won't keep it attached to the plastic, you may also need to use a double-sided adhesive just to coax it to stick together. I'm going to go choose the plastic tape. Do you like my tape rack? I've got another one with all the washi tapes in it, and this is the plastic one. So I think for the closure I'm going to use this cover here that I made out of recycling in the last video. It's only cardboard, but I want something that will match the actual colours in it. So I might go for a pink or something. Okay, so I have chosen this leopard skin, and I'm just putting down the tacky glue along the top edge. Take your tape, and if you needed to reinforce it with the double-sided adhesive, you would stick it down this side, obviously. Okay, now pin it down as you do it. I'm going to cut it first actually. I'm going to cut an edge on it first. And I'm going to start this side because it's easier to cut it off, the end off at the other side, than it is cutting it in where the seal is. Because obviously there's nothing obstructing you here. And just eyeball about half of the tape, because obviously we are going to flip it over to this side. So first off, I'm just going to cut off this excess bit of tape. Then glue down the other side. You don't need as much glue as what I put on the other side, it just kind of went a bit skewiff. And then just hold it down for a little while until it's happy with where it is. Clean up any glue that's come out if you've done a little bit too much like me, and wait for that to dry. Right, so what I've done out of the cardboard is I've just hand cut 2 circles and inked the edges a little. Now I'm just going to punch a hole roughly in the centre of each of them. I eyeball this whole process, to be honest. So I do a larger, well, a standard size hole punch in the larger one and then a smaller one in the small one. That's just because I like the aesthetic look, but you can do 2 the same size, it doesn't really matter. And then going with the flap first, because I think it's easier to eyeball the centre of the flap. Poke a hole in that. Doesn't matter, it's still going to be functional even if it's not bang on centre, so don't worry about it too much. Just going to grab a little eyelet. And put that in place. Now I just generally will always put it directly under here. If you wanted to, you could do like a zigzaggedy thing with a few of them, that would be quite nice, but I'm just going to keep straight and simple and just have one functional one. Switch it to the larger punch, and on this one you might have to crease the plastic a little bit. To be honest, see, that's going to go under there. I should have moved it. I'm going to move it down a little bit. Trust me to make a mistake on the only piece of plastic that I have. Hey ho. Okay. It would actually be easier, to be honest, to use a larger crocodile, but for some reason I always go to my handheld one. I don't know why. So pick another eyelet. And then set that one in place as well. There we go. Now for the closure, what I used on the other one is this really nice, like, cottony, yarny thing. You could put a bead or something on it. That'd be quite nice and stop it from fraying. And just tie it on one. Tie it very well. You don't want it coming loose. And cut off the excess. You don't want it to be seen, so tuck it under as best you can. I'll leave that to your imagination, and then just wrap it around as many times as you want. I think that's enough. Good enough. And then just to put it in my journal kit, I will just put holes in the edges that will fit my rings, and we're done.